interfaith. So today we would like to welcome Swami Chandra Shekarananda, and he's in charge of the Tapavanam Ashram in Karur. It's a branch of the Ramakrishna Mutt. Our Swami he's done interfaith work before. He gives seminars on Vedanta, on Veda, on Gita, and today, Swami, what will you talk be today? Yes, Upanishad. Good. Okay. So, but first, before we get started, we're going to ask Dora if he'd be willing to honor Swami with a shawl.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Good morning to all. Good morning. First of all, I introduce me briefly. I am a traditional Hindu monk, and being spiritually inclined soul, all my life I have interest to study the philosophies of major religions. Dear beloved spiritual aspirants, we are welcome to the land of religion. All the religions of the world have their due places in this holy land. Hinduism, the mother religions, fostering them all. Her strength in her being the embodiment of principles governing the reality. We shall inquire into the gist of this ancient religion. We in India have learned through our religion to look upon great teachers. With a mind to the inspiration, open to the inspiration, for which they stand for all humanity. So I am expected to present my view on the higher aspect and features of Indian philosophy than Hindu religion. Based on Upanishad, our founder Swamiji Abhishekananda ji, very much appreciate. I have gone through his book. He appreciated the higher values of Indian philosophy, and he had spent many years in isolation in the cave at Trunamala. So this event is appropriate to discuss all the points of religion. In calm moments, we have good ideas and thoughts to exchange. Vedas are four in number. Vedas means knowledge. Vedanta is the culmination of the Vedas. The practical application of it to life goes by the name yoga. It deals with the immutable and immortal reality. It raises man above the plane of worldliness. It is a rational and scientific method of meditating on Supreme Absolute, the Eternal. Vedanta is the consummation of life experiences and the end of faculty of thinking. This wisdom was revealed to the sages of ancient India during their experiment and their research in meditation. The revelations and the experiences of these sages are thoroughly checked and confirmed corollaries of single-minded. Self-controlled austerities, spiritual discipline in the science of subjective science of supreme reality. When we do not live in a state of pure detachment and egolessness, every action, every thought and the action leaves an impression in our unconscious mind. This impression adjusts towards the repetition of the same thought and action, and a sort of craving for expression and acquisition. This compulsive repetition of thought and action establishes a characteristic tendency in our personality. The epic Ramayana and Mahabharata depict the conflict between good and evil, and ultimately establish the good prevails and triumphs over the evil. Sri Krishna, the presiding deity of the Mahabharata, the divine incarnate, life principles are translated into actions or expressed through this great personality. In our present life also, there is a conflict between good and bad tendency. Inspired by the Mahabharata, we should vanquish our bad tendency. By the grace of Lord, enlightenment comes by the grace of God, and the good prevails over the bad. Life principles enacted through dharmic personalities are found in the Veda, in the epic of Hindu. We should make study of symbol also. How philosophy is concretized. Philosophy is concretized, presented to the man of commonest level. One of the festival of Hinduism is called Ayuda Puja, the worship of materials. People wash all materials they use for their livelihood and decorate them and perform puja, thinking it is God. The implication is everything is the manifestation of God. One of the Upanishad. One of the sayings of Upanishad, fundamental sayings of Upanishads is put into practice through the festival. Even the masses can understand the implication. Everything is God. The philosophy concretized is presented to the commonest level. The worship, adoration to the Creator by doing one's duty as worship is the Karma Yoga. Adoration of Creator by doing one's duty as worship is Karma Yoga. The aim of 4 yogas is elimination of egoism, selfishness, and the base desires. Nature is the gross manifestation of reality. All beings are bound to come up by evolution. The highest order is the perfect man or the God realized soul. In and through the sages and saints of all religions, spiritual feast is made available to mankind by providence. The individual may grow from individuality to the universally. In the analogy of the ocean and the waves, the Vedanta uses the individual limited by the thought of I and mine identifies with a particular form. When the waves recognizes that it is the integral part of the ocean, and moreover, when it finds that all the ocean and its waves are water alone, its sorrow over its limitation ends. Similarly, one recognizes its nature from the rest of creator and the creation, and realizes its identity with the creator and the creation. All human activities are motivated by 2 impulses: a revulsion to sorrow and a yearning for a joy. Every individual strives to avoid disagreeable objects and unconducive circumstances, and seek out the agreeable and the conducive. However, The environment around the individual is changing, continuously changing. So therefore, the individual is constantly engaged in a futile effort to find happiness in yet another object and situation. Since happiness is the underlying goal of all human endeavor, it is important to discover where exactly happiness is located. Many people believe that happiness lies in the sense object, enjoyed by sense organ. Secure in this belief, they are striving to acquire more and more objects and arrange circumstances in such a way to yield the desired happiness. Many succeed in amazing with physical comfort and eventually find out, despite their great wealth, physical comfort, and freedom, they don't feel happiness. Then where is it really? Where is it happiness? Where is it? This is a fundamental question. Leads to the Vedanta investigation. This question, the sages use this question as a springboard for the investigation into the nature of human personality, and concluded that happiness is in state of mind. In the state of mind, meditation is a means, and the goal of self-realization is the goal. Meditation removes the veil over the self. Science is human endeavor, and the spirituality is human quality. In the modern world, no any culture and ideas, human institutions are allowed to in isolation, to be in isolation, to remain in isolation. In the modern world, it is a trend to share common features of all religions. We shall get glimpses in the New Testament. In the New Testament, we shall glimpses of this attempt when the law was created by Moses and the grace and the truth came from the Jesus Christ. It is in this sphere of higher spiritual life that Jesus had something new to give. In the philosophy of the Vedanta, the Christian message in India can achieve a synthesis by which they can flow the entire constructive force with its universal elements. The broad and all-inclusive approach will be increasingly appreciated and accepted by the thinking people of the world in the coming years. The cherished culture of the preserved cherished culture of any nation will be the integral part of the human culture and civilization. Let us study the synopsis of the major religion. Religion is the realization science. In the spirit of inquiry, the spirit of inquiry finds expression in any department of science, in gathering the relevant facts and the interpretations, rational interpretation. The need for a Vedantic view to science and religion is that both of them should have shed their prejudices and come to closer each other with imbued with the passion to serve mankind and save their civilization. The path of Upanishad is pure. The practical of religion is nothing but the ceaseless quest after facts of inner life. All earth and heavens are blown off in order to come to the light. God's grace descends only on those who are utterly indifferent to worldly interests. This meaning, the gospel of Jesus Christ has meaning only when we feel burden of worldliness irksome. The Master has given assurance to ask, to not, is our right. To open, to reveal, is the God's. The synopsis of Hinduism and Christians, let me point out before you. According to the Christianity, Christianity is based on the belief that Jesus Christ is the Savior of mankind, the only Savior of mankind. According to Vedanta, whoever adheres the right path reaches perfection. Whoever adheres the right path reaches perfection. Next, according to Christianity, the creation had a beginning 6,000 years ago. But the position of Vedanta is that The projection and the withdrawal of the universe is an eternal process. According to the Christianity, every religion has its false god. Only the Christian has accessibility to Jehovah, the only God, the living God. Vedanta declares there is one reality in the cosmic reality. There is only one cosmic reality without a second. The nomenclature varies according to the people. Next comes. In the judgment day, eternal damnation. All non-Christianity peoples are condemned to the eternal damnation in hell. This is a cardinal point of Christianity. But according to Vedanta, there is no such thing as eternal damnation in hell. This is a creation of the dogmatic religionist. Every beings are bound to come Godward. Every birthright. All creation, the birthright of all creation is Godhood. Consciously or unconsciously, they are going towards Godhood. Sooner or later, sure they have come to attain perfection. They can attain perfection sooner or later. This is a view of Vedanta. Man alone has the soul, while all beings are soulless. Vedanta answers. All beings are bound to come up by evolution. You to the man in man to become man. And through enlightenment, the Jivatma drops off his body and mingles with the God Brahma. The Sermon in the Mount is the best part in Bible. Who is free from egoism, he shall realize God. Who have anguish for spirituality, they will realize God. Who are pure in heart, they will see the God. According to Christianity, the image worship is inexcusable and abominable. The mental worship is aid to the image of the physical worship. The idol of mentally physical worship is aid to the mental worship of God. Mental image of God. The ordinary man cannot worship God without an image. The aspirant worship the ideal, not the idol. The spiritual aspirant worship the ideal, not the idol. This is the concession made by Hinduism. And Man has only one birth. We have only one birth. Premature death and the defect of physical and mental defects are all the will of God. Belief of Christian. According to Vedanta, all living beings ages and countless births to achieve perfection. The law of karma works till then. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest the divine within us by controlling nature, external and internal. Do it either by work, worship, philosophy, and psychic control. By one or more, or by all of these, and be free. This is the goal of religion. Symbols, dogmas, marks, books, and temples are but secondary details. I had the fortune to meet our founder Swamiji here, the founder of this institution, about 30 years ago. He said me, feel the presence of God everywhere. So I cannot forget. They visited also to our organization and duly given reception and a program arranged. So in the sense of broadness and all-inclusive tendency, today what we need is the newly acquired knowledge of Vedanta may not bless us because our mind is filled with old habits. What we need is to create the new habits in our mind. The new habits of seeing our identity with the pure self, not with the mind, intellect, and the body. The electrical bulb is compared. When electricity passes through the bulb, it glows. Once there is no electricity, it remains inert. Like the human equipments, body, mind, and intellect are insentient by themselves. By the all powerful, mighty force dwells in us. All knowing, intelligent, master, inert, senses, sensible. Without purity, one cannot become religious. Sri Ramakrishna, the Guru of Swami Vivekananda, he is illiterate. A man of illiterate can be perfect religious. So in India, there are many saints who dedicated their life for the sake of God and work for mankind in the spirit of service. Because in Vedanta, The first discipline we must observe is the selfless service. So this doctrine was emphasized by Swami Vivekananda again and again. Service to people is service to God. Learn to work for others. I feel extreme pain to see you leading an inactive life. This was one of the sayings of Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda traveled Western country and delivered in many places lectures on profound subject matter of Eastern philosophy and Western philosophy. And he learned the consolidation and the human force put together for the welfare of society through institution and determined to start institutions following that method in India also. Let us go manly and calmly to work instead of dissipating our energy and unnecessary frettings and fumings. There is no any power in the universe to withdraw from anyone anything if he really deserves. We get for what we deserve. This is the law of nature. The past is glory, the past is great, but the future will be more glorious. This is the confidential declaration of Swami Vivekananda. So we may speak intellectually at length, but the observation of religious doctrines, one come across the doctrine in the Upanishad that established the reality in man, the connection between the reality in man and the reality in the universe. See, this is the doctrines of Vedanta. One of the impact of Upanishad is on social life, harmony, and a positive fellowship. The Sanatana Dharma teaches not only tolerance, but a universal acceptance. One of the important features of the Upanishad is the fearless quest of truth. Okay.
1070.
So you should not become boring. Okay. Should not feel bad. The parables of the Sri Ramakrishna in simple stories. They can understand, the masses can understand the stories. Through the stories, the implication of teaching is very important. The honeybee flies thousands of miles, hundreds of miles only to sit on the flower which contains the honey. It does not sit in any flower. Similarly, a true devotee, devotee aims always is speaking, working, thinking. Everything is aimed for the grace of Lord. like a honeybee. But the housefly sits on eating eatable things sometimes and sometimes on nasty things, stinking matters, stinking matters. Like that, householders sometimes are eager to listen the highest values under the religious matters with eagerness. At once they engage. Sometime later they engage in the worldliness. This is the nature of the worldly people. Sometimes they show the eagerness to listen attentively the religious subject matter. Sometimes later they engage their daily chorus. They are like housefly, but the honey bee is only sits on the honey, like a true devotee of God, always engaged in thought of God and doing service for others to purify his mind. Etc. It is one of the parables. A man can live in this world like a bird in the sea. A boat or ship can remain in the water of sea, but the water should not enter into the boat. Likewise, the householders should live in this world like a boat, with a detachment, and fulfill their duties. They are destined by the God. So everything is the will of God, according to the saints and verses composed by the saints. They may belong to any country or any culture. They felt the glory of God everywhere. It is God who has become the universe and its living beings. It is one of the realization of words of Sri Ramakrishna. It is God himself who has become the universe and its living beings. The Upanishad again and again clears this idea. Still, we are not able to find God in everyone because of the passions, evil nature, bad tendency. We are not totally free from the clutch of the evil tendency. So we must struggle in this attempt. The grace of God always favor to us. By the grace of God, all of us have assembled here to listen, to discuss the higher values of life and the ultimate aim of, ultimate benefit of human life, human birth. We must be conscious of we must be conscious of our God all our life. Great things requires great sacrifices. Nothing can be achieved without sacrifice. The strength to sacrifice our evil nature can be bestowed by prayer. We can achieve everything. Our life should be based on spiritual discipline. We should not be governed by animal nature. Human birth is rare to achieve. So in course of time, everyone is acceptable. Everyone accepted the higher aspects of every religion with their broad mind and all inclusiveness. Our founder Swamiji is like that personality. If you go through his book, you can realize yourself. So this symbol, see, it is meeting, discussion of religious matter of all religions and common is appropriate to celebrate his Memorial Day. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna declares, I am the source of all. Everything evolves from me alone. The voice, knowing this fact, the voice worship me alone. So when we get the real devotion in our mind is when we get the wisdom. This wisdom is revealed by Jesus Christ and the ancient rishis of Upanishad. When we are free, one who is free from the desire for sense objects, terrible one of the desires for sense objects, only alone is free for depression. Who was liberated from the desires for sense objects, alone is fit to liberation. None else. Even if he is well versed in all the schools of six philosophy, so the purity of the mind and the intellectual feat is quite different each other. The purity of mind can be achieved by the practice of all our life, little by little, gradually. Men are trained to travel from the lesser understanding to the pinnacle of higher understanding. Swami Vivekananda concluded his message. If you sum up the whole teachings of Swami Vivekananda, it is a message of strength. If you want to become a jnani, avoid all weakness that weakens you physically, mentally, morally, and spiritually. Strength is life, weakness is death. And little by little, gradually, by the grace of Lord, we are expected to emerge as a successful one in our spiritual advancement at a large the blessings of society.
So Swami, with your permission,